Amen. V'yelah shemos b'nei Yisrael rabim mitzrayim es Yaakov es Esau ba'il Reuven Shimon Levi Yehuda Yisachar Zvulun uBenyamin Tad min Naphtali Gad v'Asher Vayehi Kol nefesh yotzei yerech Yaakov shivim nefesh v'yosef vaya b'Mitzrayim Vayamas Yosef b'chol echav v'chol ador ahil u'b'nei Yisrael Paru v'yishitziv v'yirbu v'yitmiu b'mod mod v'tim lei ha'aretz osam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasa v'sem mitzvotai ela v'tzad v'sufreinu
Amen. Yamod Elchanan David ben Chaim Simcha Yonah HaLevi Mishiberach HaCholim Mishiberach HaVosein Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarach B'Rafes HaCholim. Baruch Hashem Mispalim Avraham Mitzvah Zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleim Dachlim Avraham Osam Ulach Azikam Ulach Hayosam V'yishlach Lohem Refuah Shlema Yishalayim L'chol Ivarehem L'chol Yedeihem L'sof Shachal Yisrael Refuah HaNefesh Refuah HaGuf Asher Lo Gam Zman Kariv V'Namar Amen.
Adonai Barach.
Adonai Barach, Le'olam Boed.
Adonai Barach, Le'olam Boed. Baruch Adonai, Baruch Olam, Asher b'charban mikol amim v'natalanu Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayakam el chadash al Mitzrayim asher leida es Yosef. Vayomer el amo hinei. Am b'nei Yisrael rav v'yatzil mimenu. Hava nitzchak malo pen yirbeh. V'haya ki sekrena melchama v'nosaf kam hu oson inu v'nacham bani v'yala min haaretz v'yasimu lahu sir misem l'manu noso b'siv l'sam v'yivid arei miskin osef aro es pisom v'yes ramses v'chasher yanu oso kin yirbeh v'chin yirprot v'yakutu mibnei b'nei Yisrael.
Baruch Adonai melech haolam shenatan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natav tuchenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Na Yamod Naphtali ben Ruben Shlishi.
Very nice.
Adonai, I'm a Baruch Le'olam Boed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bocha bonu mikol ha'amim, v'nosanu rastov v'sov. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayavidu Mitzrayim es bnei Yisrael b'farach, vaymaru es chayehem avoda kasha. V'chomer u'v'ilvinim u'v'chavda b'asadeh is klavdo sam asher avdu b'hem b'farach. Vayomer melech Mitzrayim lamildo sevrios asher shimacha shivra v'shima shinis pu'ah. Vayomer v'yaletchen Esar vios v'yisen amnaim in beinu v'mitenu sovim b'asi v'chaya v'tiren amidos es ha'elohim v'lo vasu ka'asher diber alehen melech Mitzrayim v'tichayena es ha'yiladim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nosan Torah emes v'chayei olam notav v'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Iskadav, Iskadash, May Rabba. Yama Diver, Chosem, Mekman, Chosei, Bechai, Chone, Bimechone, Bechai, Dechabes, Yabal, Bala, Bisman, Kore, Bimu, Amen. Isbarach, Istabach, Isbar, Bisamam, Bitasei, Bisadar, Bisalav, Bisalav, Shemei, Diksha, Brachel. Zeyla, Minko, Brachasa, Vishio, Satish, Bechasa, Vnachom, Asadam, Yon, Amen.
Mazel tov.
Same tov, mazel tov,
You got all that?
Yeah, you hang it like
Ratzon b'fnei Avinu Shabashamayim L'chanenes b'Chayenu L'Ashiv Shinasal b'Sofeinu B'meira v'Yameinu v'Namar Amen. Yehi Ratzon b'fnei Avinu Shabashamayim L'rachim Aleinu v'Yaflet Oseinu V'Yimlo Amash v'Yismagef Amei Aleinu V'Yakol Ama B'Yis Yisrael v'Namar Amen. Yehi Ratzon b'fnei Avinu Shabashamayim L'Kayim L'Racham B'Yisrael Heinu V'Yisrael
I want to welcome and thank everybody for coming and sharing in our simcha in the bar mitzvah of Hillel Elchanan Glick. Special thank you to my parents and Renee's mother for all they've done for us over the year, and we very much miss Hillel's grandfather, Dov ben Elchanan HaKohen. When I was growing up, my mother oftentimes would say, "I hope you have a child like yourself." And I always thought she wanted me to experience the same exhilaration as she did, raising a child prodigy, along with my constant motion and never-ending adventures. It wasn't until years later I understood my mother wanted me to get a taste of what she went through raising me, as I was very different from my siblings and ended up in some sort of trouble quite often. So Mom, I can happily inform you, the blessing to me skipped right over Kalev and landed squarely with Hillel. Reaching his bar mitzvah, I've gotten a taste of what you went through, and amazed that you made it intact and sane until I left the house at 22. So Mom and Champ, thank you very much. Special thank you to Rabbi Leo Teitz, Associate Dean of the JC, and Rabbi Shlomo Schwartz, the principal of the lower school. This is as much your simcha as it is ours, as you along with the Rabbeim and teachers have truly been our partners, raising Hillel as the next link in the Jewish chain, unbroken since we left Egypt. So I have been where you are sitting right now many times, balancing in my mind, how long will the speeches be? The kid is only 13 years old. Can I slip out before work? Will they notice? Can I grab a bagel on my way out? Or should I bear through it and wait for the waffle station? Just so you know, Kalev will be taking names of anyone that leaves early. Just kidding, just kidding. 20 minutes or less and you're good to go with an amazing breakfast. So this morning, Hillel laying the first Aliyah of Shemot so beautifully, and we look forward to hearing him laying the entire Parshas Bo in Israel, and feel blessed that so many of our friends and family will be joining us for the second half of the Simcha in Yerushalayim. This morning's laning talks about two heroes, Shifra and Pua. They risked their lives to save Jewish children. Paro's edict demanded the murder of all Jewish boys. Heroically, Shifra and Pua ignored his decree at the risk of their own death and played a key role in the survival of the Jewish nation. We take for granted the risk that they took because we know how the story ended, but Shifra and Pua didn't when they made that decision. Those that know me know at my very core I despise passionless Judaism. We have been blessed having been born into a member of the chosen people with all the beauty and grandeur our religion provides for us. Hillel Glick is named for two Jewish heroes who possessed a ton of passion. His middle name, Elchanan, is named for Renee's paternal grandfather, who witnessed his infant nephew snatched from the hands of his sister and murdered on the spot in front of his family's eyes simply for being a Jew. There was no Shifra or Pua to save him. Elchanan, or Charlie as he was called, survived the war and in my mind was a hero twofold. At the end of World War II, he along with his brother Max tracked down the head of the police in their Lithuanian town and put a bullet in his head, reminding him of what he had done to his helpless nephew, family, and countless other Jews. Secondly, after reaching America and rebuilding his life, he made the heroic decision to send his son to yeshiva. So many that survived, and who could blame them, wanted to leave the old world behind, not him, and those few years of yeshiva that Renee's father benefited from implanted the seeds that have borne tremendous fruits we still reap today. I want to share with you an article from the Jerusalem Post written a bit more than 13 years ago. Early Sunday evening on October 8th, Israeli security forces discovered the bullet-ridden body of Hillel Lieberman, who was last seen that Saturday morning heading for Joseph's tomb after hearing that Palestinians were desecrating the site. An IDF statement said, Lieberman was murdered in cold blood by Palestinian terrorists as he made his way to Nablus. An Elon Morah resident and U.S. citizen, Hillel Lieberman was a rabbi and a teacher, a scholar, and beloved by all that knew him. Lieberman left the synagogue on foot for Joseph's tomb in nearby Nablus after hearing that Palestinians had destroyed the shrine shortly after Israeli troops left the site. He was unarmed, wearing a tallit, and he was brutally murdered by our enemies who want to erase our very existence. I vividly remember hearing about Hillel Lieberman's murder. Here was an unarmed Jew literally walking into the lion's den, Nablus, with nary an Israeli soldier in sight. The Israeli army had just vacated Joseph's tomb. Was he insane? Didn't he know he would be killed? Isn't there a fine line between reckless behavior and heroism? And I started thinking more about what a hero is. Webster's definition is a person who is admired for great or brave acts. If every time a hero walked into a dangerous situation, he knew the outcome, would he truly be a hero? We just came through Hanukkah. Was Matisyahu hasty when he and his brothers took on the entire Greek army? Was Nachshon ben Aminadab crazy when he jumped into the sea up to his neck with the Egyptian army in hot pursuit? Was Moshe Rabbeinu reckless when he marched into the ruler of Egypt and demanded a nation of slaves walk off the job? The answer to all of these are no. And it can't be because we know the story had a happy ending. Unfortunately, our history is filled with heroes whose actions did not have a happy conclusion. It is not our place to understand God's cheshbonos or God's accounting. Hillel Lieberman had everything in the world to live for. He had a passion for Am Yisrael, and he saw an attack on Joseph's tomb as an attack on the Jewish nation, and he did what he believed was right. He marched to the place of the attack and ready to confront our enemies. The other definitions of hero are possess fine qualities, willing to stake a position against the majority or status quo. At the time of his birth, we didn't realize how fitting Hillel's namesakes are, but as he matures, I see hero qualities in him. Hillel has this passion. His Rabbeim speak of it often. No matter how large or trivial the issue is, if Hillel believes in the justice of his cause, he will argue it until the other side bends to his logic or just gives up from exhaustion. I have been on the other side. I wish he had a little less passion for the Eagles and our fantasy football team. Hillel has a sensitive soul and feels when others feel pain. He notices if others are excluded from sports and makes it his mission to lift their spirits. He never builds himself up by tearing others down. He stands for those being bullied and is always there to help the underdog. I had a chance to speak with Hillel Lieberman's sister and widow, who God willing will be joining us in Israel, and gain some insights into who Hillel Lieberman was as a person and how so many of these qualities are found in Hillel Glick. My bracha, my hope for Hillel is may he continue to emulate these two important heroes, his namesakes, and become a hero to the Jewish people. We sure need them. Mazel tov.
So first of all, it's really a pleasure, and I'm so happy, Moshe, that you and Renee decided to make a little bit of a bar mitzvah here so that we could all celebrate. Watching Hillel grow up has been a real pleasure. The last couple of words that you mentioned, I think, are really something of great significance, is that whenever, throughout the years, we have all observed, Hillel, your parents, and what they've done in our community, and there you are following behind. Most of the time, literally walking behind. I can't stop recalling, since you were a little boy, walking with your father to shul and into the base medrash every single Shabbos. I wanted to share with you a thought which is specific to you, and that is that in our parsha this week, the Torah says that Moshe grew up, but at first it says Vayigdal Hayeled, child grew up, and then afterwards, a few psukim later, the Torah says Vayigdal Moshe, and Moshe grew up. So Rashi immediately says, why does it say in one place Hayeled? Why does it say in another place Moshe? It's the same person. So Rashi explains in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, Echad, Harishon, Lakuma, and Hasheni, the second one, Ligdula. Which means, the first one was that Moshe grew up. He was of age. No longer was a little baby, he no longer was a little kid, he became mature. The second one meant that he became a gadol, he became a great person. Great throughout his people, and great certainly among his family, and even to Paro. Remember how Paro was thinking, and here Moshe, little Moshe, is coming in front of him and demanding that the Egyptians let the Jews go free. Boggles the mind. So my bracha to you is that Gadol B'Kuma, the first one is that you became bar mitzvah. Yesterday you became of age. You consider halachically like everyone else, you consider halachically like a man. But there's much to be done. And the next part is Ligdula. Ligdula means that you grow into who it is that you want to be. To bring the sense of happiness and success and fulfillment to who it is that you decide that you want to become in life. As we go through a stage where now you're past bar mitzvah, but you begin to start molding the future of your life, recognize all of the wonderful midos that you have within you, and all the possibilities to become who it is that you want to be. That's the Gedula. The Gedula which is not just simply like everyone else, but everyone is different. I mentioned this past Shabbos that Nachman Breslov says that every human being has a nigun miyuchad, that every Jew has their own personal nigun. No one's nigun is the same as everyone else. Everyone's nigun is their own. And the charge that you have from today on forward is to learn your nigun, to learn your song, and to be able to constantly sing that song so that your parents and that your grandparents who are here and your grandfather in Shamayim above will look down and be able to hear that song being played. And you continue to grow in many different ways, bring nachas not only to your family, but bring nachas to yourself, and growing into who you want to be. Mazel tov.
So our last speech, I promise. We have all sat around Shabbos tables and hearing the discussion. My yeshiva tuition, you can buy a new car every year, trips to Hawaii, a new kitchen, all the above. And when I sit back and think what it brought us at the JC, it's priceless. Children that are excited about learning and have a passion for Judaism, to me that's worth every penny and then some. So I'm happy to introduce the Associate Dean of the JC, Rabbi Eliezer Taiz.
Thank you, Moshe. Hillel, I'll talk back to you too. I'm going to go back to a different Hillel. The first one that's mentioned, the Hillel of Hillel and Shammai. If you look in the Gemara, we know Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai had arguments all the time. Probably the most that are listed anywhere in Shas. Hillel and Shammai, how many times did they disagree? 6. That's it. 6 recorded disagreements between Hillel and Shammai. So it's a lesson for a leader about compromise and understanding other people. And the way he taught Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, the Gemara says that Ezehui machlokes shilu shem shamayim, what kind of machlokes is shem shamayim? That's machlokes Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. That the ones who follow you, you have to train them also. That when they disagree, it's always got to be l'shem shamayim. I want to say one thing that Hillel said, very interesting thing. We know, it's a famous statement in the world, the golden rule. The golden rule is, do unto others as you want done unto yourself. It's attributed to another Jew who did not have such a great track record. But think about that statement for a second. Do unto others what you want done unto yourself. I would love everybody to give me $1 million. I would love that. I want everybody to give me $1. Does that mean I have to go and give $1 to every single person in the world? That's unrealistic. Hillel said, no, that's not the way you look at it. Madasani Allah l'chavrach lotavi. What you don't want done to you, don't do to anybody else. That's a much more practical and realistic way of looking at life. If there's something that you don't like, don't do it to anybody else. And that's what Hillel taught. That was his whole life. Look practically at the world, look realistically at the world. And realize that there are some people that are naturally attract others to follow them. And that leadership role is a tremendous responsibility. Mitzvah Hashem, you will grow in many areas. You'll have people who will be attracted to you. That's your personality. That's who you are. And those who follow within your group, you have to lead by Madasani Allah l'chavach lotavi. That will make sure that everybody will be l'shem shamayim, and you will be a source of wonderful nachas to your parents and to your grandparents and to your community as well.
So that's it. I hope everyone will join us for breakfast. Just part of our trip is we're going to be going to Israel. Ayala, and I can never pronounce her last name, Yolette, she's an 11-year-old, she is an 11-year-old girl that was injured very severely in a terrorist attack. She's classmates with one of my best friends growing up, so we're going to be visiting her. There's a big get well card for her and an iPad and stuff, so that please sign the card for her and enjoy it. Thank you so much for coming.